Hi, and welcome to a new video of this MOOC. In this video, we are going to finish the implementation of our Chronometer application. In previous videos, we created the application and a specific component for managing the logic and the template of the Chronometer. In this video, we are going to add some classes to the template in order to style the application. Remember that learning CSS is out of the scope of this MOOC, so I'm going to use an already implemented CSS file that you can of course find at the link we provide with this solution. Here I have this CSS file in which you can see how I have implemented some styles for the different parts of the application. The states, the numbers, the minutes, the actions, the buttons, etc. So I'm going to copy this CSS file to the styles file of our component. Remember that every class and identifier defined here in this class will will only affect to the template of the Chronometer. So let's add here some classes for each of the divs we defined in the previous video. Here one class for the state, here one class for the numbers panel that is called number, and here a class for each of the part of the display. I have here the class for the minutes, for the seconds, and finally a class for the millis. Then I will define here for the actions a new class and a new class also for each specific button. I have a common class that is shared by every button, and then a specific class for each specific button, the stop one and the reset one. Okay, so with this I should have the style of my Chronometer as you can see here in the new application. The next thing I'm going to do is to enable or disable the different buttons of the panel depending on the actions I can perform in each moment. So when the application is running, I of course should not be able to click on the start button, and when the application is stopped, I should only be able to click on the start button. In order to do that, I'm going to use a class binding, the class binding that Angular offered to us. Remember that to do that, I have to use this notation in which I specify the value of the specific class of the component in this way. So, for instance, for the start button, the button will be disabled when the application is running. So here I check the value of a property of the component, the property running, and when the when the value of this property is true, the start button will be disabled. On the other hand, the same happens for the stop button, but in this case, the button will be disabled when the application is not running. Okay? And finally, for the reset buttons, I will include a more complex validation in which the button will be disabled when the application is not running, but also I have to check the value of the display, and this button will be disabled when the value of the different properties is equal to 0. So when the application is not running and the value of the properties is 0, of all the properties, minutes, millis, and seconds, it's 0, this button will be disabled. Okay, so let's check the application, and as you can see now, when the Chronometer is stopped, I can just click on the start button, and now that the application is running, I can click on stop, and now the different buttons are enabled or disabled depending on the status. Finally, as you can see here, the format of these numbers is not very intuitive, and I'm going to include a new feature that Angular provides to us, that is the filtering, the pipe functionality. So I'm going to format here the value of the minutes, saying that I have to include here a number with the format that includes 2 decimals. So I have to put here this filter, this number, this is a number with this format with 2 decimals, and the same for the seconds. And now if I check the application, you can see how I have the minutes and the seconds, both of them with two decimals, with 2 ciphers, okay? So this is the new aspect and the final style of our chronometer. Okay, so that's all for this video. We have a completely functional chronometer already implemented with what we have learned about Angular. Bye, and see you in the next video.